Today we're going to be talking about the care and propagation of Anubias, a super easy aquarium plant that can grow in almost any freshwater environment. Without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Right, so Anubias is a very common aquarium plant that you can find at most fish stores. You can even go to the big brand pet stores, and if they have a little plant selection, you're likely to find Anubias there. Anubias is more like a family of plants. There's all sorts of species involved, and you can find like smaller species that are great for nano aquariums. And then there's also some very large leafed varieties out there that you can get for your 30-gallon plus aquariums. Now, some of the more common small leafed varieties you can find are Anubias nana, Anubias nana petite, Anubias barteri, and they're great for your aquariums from 15 gallons below. And then if you've got larger aquariums, you can get the Anubias copifolia, Anubias gigante. There's a lot of options. You're most likely to find them sorted at your fish store, so you'll find like all sorts of different varieties mixed together. So you just got to pick your Anubias depending on the size and what you want for your aquarium. Now, a big upside to this plant is that they've got really tough leaves, Anubias, so it means that you can keep them with some of those plant grazers. It's always great to have a plant that you know will not get eaten, at least not very quickly at all. They can go slightly higher in the pH. Of course, they prefer soft water, but they can adjust if they need to. By the way, Anubias grows great with goldfish. The goldfish won't really eat this plant, it's too tough for them. And Anubias can grow in slightly colder waters down to 15 degrees Celsius. That's extreme conditions, but they will slowly grow and thrive in that cold water. Alright, now another big upside to this plant is that the role it plays with the fish. I think every aquarium needs this plant because it creates so many hiding spots for the fish, and it provides structure to the plant alone. So if you look in my aquariums, you can see once they start growing out and very bushy, a lot of the smaller fish in your nano aquariums really love going throughout it. In my Endler guppy tank over here, the female endlers that are ready to give birth, they will go into the Anubias, and it's a great escape from the males and every other fish in the tank. Alright, now I just stole a little Anubias from one of my tanks, but here is a smaller variety, and I'm going to show you how it grows. You'll get these leaves obviously, but just along here there's this little stem. It's actually a really thick stem, and it's really hard to break apart unless you put some force into it. This is why it's a really strong and hardy aquarium plant. The way it grows is that it can attach to any surface in the aquarium, and these roots will just grow in the water column, so they'll actually just grow amongst the water and feed off all the fish poop and nitrates in the water. Any nutrients that's floating in the water column, that nitrate and whatnot, the roots are going to absorb it, therefore creating these beautiful leaves. And you'll see the rhizome, that's what it's called, the little stem. That rhizome grows longer and longer. This one's got a really good root system. You can plant it straight into the substrate, into your dirt or sand or whatever, but if this rhizome is smothered and it's not getting any light, then the whole plant will die. So the rhizome is really important. You can get super glue like I did and glue it to a rock, and you can place it wherever you want in the aquarium, on your wood, on top of the substrate, whatever you want. Another way is maybe tying it to a piece of wood or something like that, or a rock. And another option is if you've got little gaps in your wooden rocks and that sort of thing, you can jam them in with the rhizome. You don't have to glue or anything like that. As long as it stays in place, then the roots can just grow out and anchor onto like the wood or the rock, whatever it's on, and it won't be moving anywhere anytime soon. Now, if you've got a fish tank, you've got nothing too special, you're not a person who's into plants that much, you've never really kept them before, this plant is great. All you got to do is just go buy some, attach it to a rock or a piece of wood, whatever you want. Buy some liquid fertilizer. You can do some research towards that. It's not very complicated, but basically you just got to dose the tank with that liquid fertilizer, usually once a week, following the directions on the bottle. Then you can have a nice clump growing in your aquarium. This plant grows really well in low lighting conditions. It means you don't need an expensive light to grow this stuff. If you've got a fish tank light, usually they will do pretty well. They can even grow in ambient lighting in the room. Now, it can go into the lower temperatures, but it will grow a lot slower. In general, Anubias is pretty slow growing, which makes it low maintenance, which means you don't have to trim it every bloody week and that sort of thing. Now I'm going to show you how to propagate this aquarium plant. So when it grows a lot in your aquarium, you can actually break it apart and put one of the pieces in another aquarium. You bought a big bunch of Anubias, you want to divide it between a few rocks across the tank. We're going to sacrifice this beautiful stem, and I'm going to show you. So you got to get the rhizome, the stemmy part, as I said. All you got to do, really simple, below one of the leaves, you just break it, just like that. It's really important that in every bit that you break off, and when you create a new Anubias, there's always like 1 or 2 roots growing. They can be really small, but as long as there's a root there, then it means that the plant should settle in straight away when you add it into the tank. So yeah, as you can see now, we got 2 little pieces of Anubias. These are actually really nice looking, so I might chuck them in one of my aquascapes to add a bit more to it. What's not to love about this plant? Easy to keep too, and survives in most conditions. Give it a shot if it fancies you. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Other than Other than that, have a great day, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.